Welcome
to Nerdville.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. You must be cautious.
Hello there, Star Wars fans. Today we are doing a tier list ranking all different movies and TV shows in the Star Wars cinematic universe. This is based on our personal opinion. Warning in advance for you hardcore fans, we mostly like the Star Wars universe, not necessarily the movies. So we might have some hot takes.
Alright, Fanfi, time to put it, make it official. We've talked about this many times over the years, and I think it's time to actually rank them.
Tales of the Jedi first.
Tales of the Jedi, I think B would make sense. I think it's solid, it's enjoyable. Like the story is nice, but it's nothing special either, It's just a nice, additional piece of information to the universe, in my opinion. I would put it B tier.
I do think it adds a lot to Dooku's character. I just think that the animation style, the textures, 3D, everything's amazing. And also, Dooku's character arc, Ahsoka also getting, a bit of an end to her story right from Clone Wars Season 7. I did find it very good, like above average. It's weird to start with this one, though.
A little bit. I mean, let's put it in B tier for now.
Yeah,
and see if it...
for now. Let's put it. We might change it. We might just put it in B for now. It's safe. Phantom Menace.
It's A tier. Sorry to say. Like, I'm not a big prequel person, but there's Maul, first introduction to Maul, and it's just I feel like the movie in itself is not like the story's nice. The race with Anakin is always like one of the best, moments.
Yeah, okay. The Anakin race is really good. I do say that.
And Qui-Gon, come on, Fanfi.
Yeah, I will say that I do agree with a lot of the people that say that a lot of people that bash on the prequels, with good reason. The problems that they have with the Phantom Menace is generally kid Anakin and Jar Jar mostly, right? The kid humor. Oh, hey Annie, why are you doing this? Stuff like that. I do find that the lead actor in Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn is much better than Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. But I do think that the Jar Jar stuff and the Anakin stuff does get in the way, so I would more likely put it in B than A.
But that's why I wouldn't put it, like, for me, it's like, that's why it doesn't make it S. But it's still an A tier. Like, it's like, I would still recommend to anybody to watch it. Like, I would still be like, that's a good watch. True, yeah. You're really going to enjoy it. Really cool moments.
What I find is lacking from, like, the two other movies, right? The other prequel movies is really, like, starship-based, battles. And, like, even the race is very Star Wars. It feels Star Wars. The background shots, like the decors, like everything looks like an upgraded version of what we saw in 4, 5, 6, as opposed to in episode 2 and 3 when it gets really crazy special effects stuff, which kind of like for me breaks the graphical coherence of the story. While in like Phantom Menace it stays coherent in a way, just upgraded. So yeah, I'll put it here for now. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Attack of the Clones. Okay, so. A lot of people are like, oh, what are you talking about? There's like Yoda, cool lightsaber. Yeah, great. But 80% of that movie is Anakin and Padme, drama, creepiness with bad acting. It's really hard. I have to skip through that movie to watch it. I will be more fair with your opinions though.
What are you talking about? You're not enjoying Creeperkin? Like,
oh no, Creeperkin, like, oh my god. Sorry, my lady.
I can't breathe.
Oh my god.
I would agree with you. It's just like you watch it because really, it's like it's part of your marathon, but it's like if I could skip it. Yeah,
there's the Yoda Dooku. There's the Camino part, which I enjoy. I do enjoy the Camino part with Jango Fett. It is a bit off-putting, for Star Wars. At least when you only know the original trilogy at that point, right? But I do think, the Camino scene and obviously the climax with Dooku and Yoda is very 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 cool. But the rest is just for me unwatchable. Do you agree with the place?
It's D tier. If something's gonna be D tier, that to me that should be the one.
Well, there's others that belong there too, but we'll get there when we get there.
All right.
Clone Wars.
S tier. S tier, immediately S tier. It's great.
S tier,
It just fixes so many things in the prequels. It's really good. Obviously, you have it's a bit episodic at times, but it does give you more of that universe. Like even those episodes, it gives you more planets. You really get to see the clones. And then
Yeah, I
as
mean,
you
we
go
did a
further,
whole video on it for a reason,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Exactly.
it's a really good show.
it just makes sense as a whole. You know, I just love it so much. You know, Ahsoka's amazing, Ventress is amazing. There's just too many good
The
things.
fact
to say
that they
about it.
fixed Anakin's character again, like Anakin from the Phantom Menace being like this really, you know, bad acting kid to, you know, a bad acting teenager and a bad acting, you know, adult. It's really a hard journey to watch, and at least seeing, you know, him being a hero in the Clone Wars just makes it just so much worth it, right? And makes you kind of want to rewatch the movies in a way and say, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe he's not that much of a bratty, douchey teenager. Well, no, he is, but Clone Wars is
He
just
feels
great,
like
you know?
the chosen one. He really feels like the chosen
Yeah,
one.
he does, yeah. Even
And
though he's
he's a
got
real-
flaws, the moments where he's cool, he's very cool.
And also it gives you context about, you know, how he rose, like, you know, like how good of a general he was, like, because that's kind of,
Yeah.
you know, mentioned throughout the movies, but you just never really see it. And the Clone Wars
Yeah,
really
and as we said in our
includes it.
video, like, also him turning to the dark side, and no, not maybe that specifically, but him hating the Jedi Order, like saying like, for me the Jedi are the enemy. That doesn't make sense. Like, since when? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, it gives you all the context you need.
yeah, well,
For
not
sure.
maybe not all of it, but enough for you to be like, okay, yeah, this makes a bit more sense now, right?
No, it really fixes like most of his character. Like, I love Anakin in Clone Wars. Like, love him. Like, awesome.
Yeah, and now the movie that a lot of people would probably put S, I think fits perfectly in the spots that is missing. I think.
I would agree. I always thought it was C. It's like,
Yeah,
there's good
like,
parts
it's-
and bad parts. It's not average. Like, it's still
I
like,
will, and this is why I don't put it in D, because if the conclusion of the story and the lead into, right, the original trilogy wasn't as well done as it was, I would put it D, because there's so much bad acting in that movie, from the weird like screams of Palpatine when Anakin's fighting Dooku, get like and stuff like that, and you know, it's just, there's a lot of weird scenes that are hard to watch, but then again, there's a lot of great scenes too. And as you've said to me many times, the turn for Anakin Skywalker is too early in the movie, and it feels too sudden.
it's like they didn't
Yeah.
put an effort to like make you like understand why. It just kind of just happens.
Well, I mean, for Padme's sake and everything like that we understand, but it's all of the hate towards the Jedi, right? And for me, there's not enough, you know, apart from, again, we said this in our Clone Wars video and I think Ahsoka video too, like, apart from Windu maybe not trusting him enough and telling him, you know, and this has been since Anakin's a kid, we've saw this, right? He's too old, like, Windu's the one who said that, right? But we don't get enough of Yoda. Seems like he's actually trying to help Anakin, like he's doing it in his Yoda way, which isn't the best way, you know, like fret not, your loved ones will become part of the Force and all that, right? But he is genuinely trying to help him, right? So it feels very ungrateful, and yeah, it's just weird. But I think it might deserve B, but despite all the negative points we pointed out, just because the story is actually the conclusion to the story, the bad guy winning the end, like all of that, I think maybe deserves it to be in B tier, because it is a bit like, yeah, there's a lot of flaws, but it is like, I do enjoy watching. I don't have to skip through this movie like I do with Attack of the Clones, you know what I mean?
You know what? B sounds fair. It's, you know, it is a good, you know, it's good. It's enjoyable overall. Like,
It's enjoyable. Like, same way as Tales, I might find it a bit better than Revenge of the Sith, but Revenge of the Sith, for me, the problem really is just acting. It's really, like, there's some good scenes, huh? One or two good scenes here and there, especially in the beginning with Obi-Wan and Anakin. That whole moment is great, right?
all right, Tales of the Empire.
C tier.
I want to say B, but I mean, I love Grievous so much.
It was
you know,
beautiful. It was beautiful.
It's
But it
beautiful.
was disappointing.
I mean,
I'd
it's
say
just,
not bad, but disappointing. Like, you know what I mean? It's
feels
better than
incomplete.
Attack of the Clones, right? But it's not huh?
it feels incomplete. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It feels incomplete, and it feels kind of off subject in a way.
A little bit.
Feels off subject, like it's really the tales of Morgan Elsbeth and Barriss Offee, right? Like, it's not about the Empire necessarily. While, you know, Tales of the Jedi was more specifically about two Jedi specifically, but still about the Jedi. Again, like, it would have been interesting if we had Tales of the Sith. That's not what we got, but at least maybe get more development on the Shadow Council for Mandalorians, or Thrawn or something like that. But it just felt kind of empty and disappointing, unfortunately.
Exactly. I would agree with that. It felt like there's a lot of, you know, I'm hyped to see about it, and then you watch it and you're like, it's not exactly what I was looking for. It's nice. It looks really good. Like,
Yeah,
but nothing.
I think that's the biggest thing. We saw the trailer and it looked so beautiful, so well done. And we're so used to Rebels, right, and Clone Wars and stuff like that, that it just feels like, you know, I don't know, it felt weird. Especially the ending. Moving on, the Bad Batch.
I'm hesitating to
tier. A and S.
I would put it A tier.
Yeah,
I think it's really like, it's funny, it's great.
It's different. It's different, but still Star Wars. You know what I mean?
I agree, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't expand. It doesn't expand the way, you know, an S tier for me would be. You know, it does expand in a different way, right? But Clone Wars was so vast, covering so many different planets, so many different, you know, cultures, and diving more into the Jedi, which is for most of the fans the most interesting thing, right? But Bad Batch, I think, just the characters, the art style, the animation, the story is really good too. Season 1's a bit weaker. I'd say season 1 is the weakest of the 3. That's why I'd put it here more than here. But yeah, I think it's good in A. All right, so let's see. Solo.
You take it.
B. I would just put it B tier. I think it's good. It's enjoyable. It you know, gives you a little bit more on Han Solo, but no, it's nothing special either. You know.
It wasn't as bad as people had portrayed it to me. Like it was. It was okay. I enjoyed Han and Chewie, for instance. It was good to see them. It was heartwarming. Lando was good at times and overdid it at times, I find. Like sometimes he was just perfect. He was like, oh, that's Lando. And then he went like on this whole, you know, weird Shakespearean nonsense, which kind of caught me off guard.
A little bit, but I could see it in the character of Lando, especially when he was younger. You know, that he was a bit more whimsical in a way. As a younger, a bit more weird. No, whimsical is the word. I think whimsical is the word. But it's good. It brings enough. I would watch. Like, honestly, it was the same for me. It was like the reviews were so bad, and it's just I guess it was so bad that my expectation was so low that I was pleasantly surprised, actually, in a weird way.
Yeah, like, bro, this isn't as bad as Attack of the Clones, you know, like. No, but I think seeing the Kessel Run, they always talk about the Kessel Run in the original trilogies, so that was very cool too, right? No, I did like it, but not, you know, not to a crazy extent. Kenobi, C.
B? Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking A. I was thinking A.
A? Really?
I mean,
I guess we gotta put it B then.
You know, I don't know. Like maybe I can be convinced. I guess maybe I just enjoyed too much, like the whole, you know, Obi-Wan, the broken man, like kind of, you know, re-getting his own faith throughout the story.
So maybe, like, I'd say for me the best part about the Kenobi show, and it's weird for me to say this, it's Hayden Christensen. He's the best part.
That too.
Obviously,
that's a big part.
I criticize Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker a lot. Like, I bash on him a lot. But again, he was a young actor, and I don't feel like George Lucas's specialty is directing actors. It's creating an immersive and amazing universe, right? That's his specialty, and filming as well. Yeah, I feel like Anakin. Hayden Christensen as Vader played so well. Like, the transition from bratty teenager to Dark Lord was finally made sense to me, right? You know what I mean? Like, how does this bratty, douchey teenager, he's not a teenager in the 3, but you know what I mean? He acts like one, turns into like this like super awesome badass Dark Lord, you know what I mean? Well, in Obi-Wan, you kind of get the answer, right? And that was great. But Reva...
Yeah,
the useless jumping around, and I love the fact that we got to see young Leia, especially her with Obi-Wan, but I did not like the actress who plays her. I don't want to bash on that because she's a young kid, right? Like, not everyone is the kid from ET, right? But like, it's I don't know, like that everything around it felt weak. The fact that the stormtroopers shot inside the Fortress Inquisitorius under the water, like, that was just insane to me. Like, or the fact that
Vader getting grabbing the ship when it's trying to fly away. That was
great. But again, Vader, right? Like, that's not fair.
I mean, you know what? I think you've convinced me. I think the reality is that there's, like, I got clouded by the epic moments, but
Yeah, there are some great moments.
But it's not like it's just like it's not as good as Solo as a whole either.
No, I don't think so. Solo brought us much more on Han's character than we got on Obi-Wan's, really. Like, I don't feel like we got that much from him. Yeah, it was cool to see him destroyed and like terrified when he sees Anakin. There were great moments, but overall as a story, I feel like it was lacking.
And even the end fight, it's a bit too much. And again,
and Reva, like knowing about Luke, that's a big mistake.
True.
Pardon?
And the fact also that he should have killed him again. You just let him go again. Like, what are you doing, Obi-Wan? You know?
Yeah, that's a big it's a big problem. They should have like had someone intervene, or the fight stops for some the ground splits like in like in episode 7.
Something like that.
The ground splits in half.
So something like that, just like, but it's just like it feels like he's incapable of finishing it off, and it's everybody suffers
like, no,
from
I'll
his
leave
weakness.
this to his son, you know.
When it's my own mistake.
I mean, that is within Ben's character. Like, he was like, "You lied to me, Ben. I didn't lie to you. Technically, Darth Vader did kill your father. Technically." Like, I don't know if that's exactly what they say, right? But let's move on. S. Rebels.
I mean, it's the same as Clone Wars. I think it's in the same.
I think it's a step above Clone Wars in a way, because Clone Wars, we have characters that we already know, so there's already a reason for us to watch the show. I feel like what was lacking a bit in the prequels was the family dynamic. You know, the Obi-Wan, Luke, Han Solo, Leia, C-3PO. They're a family, right? There's not a real family unit in the prequels. It's a bit separated, everything. In the Clone Wars, you have it a bit more with Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, right? Sometimes Padme. There's a Padme, Ahsoka, Anakin dynamic too. But in Rebels, you really have that, you know, family. Rebels feels like Star Wars. I see the spaceship battles. It feels like Star Wars. I see the people suffering from poverty in like almost a post-apocalyptic landscape. That's Star Wars. You know what I mean? It's really good. The antagonists are great. The season 1 is a bit slow, but even there's like the Grand Inquisitor, who's an amazing antagonist. Yeah, I love Rebels, and nothing will convince me that it's not an S tier.
No, I agree. It's S tier. Like, I want to make it clear, Fanfi is huge fan of Rebels. Like, huge.
Yeah,
fan of
Rebels. It's in like my top 5 animation shows of all time, I think.
So it's like I'm more of a Clone Wars person, but it's like exactly the reason why Fanfi loves it so much is from what you're saying is just, you know, that they created a whole, you know, different cast of characters and it was successful, right? And for me, it's like that's probably great. And they're great, and I agree with that, but I think the familiarity and the addition of Ahsoka for me would put, you know, I believe Clone Wars is better, but they're like, it's
but also Rebels is less episodic. It's more of a story from A to Z. There are certain episodes that go a bit off track, but it'll be a 1 or 2 off episode, not a 4-episode series or whatever. You know what I mean?
It's a different.
I still like that about Clone Wars, especially on a first watch, but I find Rebels more approachable. I think. Yeah.
No, I mean, but exactly. They're both S tier. They're both, you know, amazing, you know, series. Okay, Andor. Right, let me start on this one. I think
okay.
I think it was nice, a little bit drawn out for my opinion, like for my taste. Just, you know, it's good, but it's just you could get, you know, it could lose some people along the way. That's, you know, my view on Andor.
So yeah, I agree. Especially the first 3 episodes. The first 3 episodes, you're stuck on the home planet of what's his name? Andor. You're stuck on Andor's home planet, and it's for 3 episodes. You keep getting flashbacks about an extended scene every single time that lasts like a couple of minutes. It's very drawn out, and
it took me a while.
Get past those 3 episodes. You know, yeah, like when you get past those 3 episodes and you arrive at when he gets contacted by the rebellion, or by what will become the rebellion, right? That's when it starts to kick off. And I feel like it does, for me anyways. I would put it in A tier. I do agree, I'll put it in B tier, just for those 3 first episodes that it's hard to just watch that stuff, even though it feels like Star Wars. It's for 3 episodes. It's long, right? Like,
and it's the start too. That's what, you know people gets people into it. Like,
yeah, I mean, if we had a season 2 and the season 2 was incredible, I might put it in A, right? But I think I'd have to agree with you and put it in B for now.
Yeah, you can't have, you know, half of it being, you know, and the other half great, and then, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a B. It's B. It's like it's good. It's just be prepared for, you know, a little bit of a slow start for some people.
Yeah.
All right, Rogue One. I'm interested to know what you think. I have my opinions on it, and like, what do you think?
It's a tough call because I like Rogue One for, again, like what I dislike about the prequels, right? The fact that it feels graphically incoherent. In Rogue One, again, you feels like in Star Wars, right? From the ships to the technology, etc. Even if it looks prettier, right? I just hate the main actress. I really can't stand her. Not as much as Padme and Anakin. Now it's not that bad, but and I don't know. I'll put it A. I'm putting it in A.
Actually, funny enough, I agree with you. I think it's A.
Especially the end. Especially the end ties in so well to the 4. Like it covers a bit of a plot hole in New Hope. It's not really a plot hole because he does use the Force to bend it and all that, right? But it does. It's nice to explain that plot further. You know how they got the plans of the Death Star, seeing characters die at the end, stuff like that, right?
It followed the story. Like it feels like that was the story, that what happened. Like as it felt like as close as it was described. For me, what would made it instantly a B tier is if the two characters at the end kissed. I thought it was great to see a hug. I thought the hug was perfect.
Yeah.
Because it's companionship. It's like, this is the end and you just want to be close to someone, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But you don't have to make it into a whole, we're into each other.
Kiss and then there's fireworks.
Yeah, exactly. It's a hug. It makes sense. That's all. Like, it's very human. It's a very human moment.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. Okay. A New Hope. A. I put it in A.
A? I think, I would put it A. I don't think it's S. Like, I don't think it deserves to be S.
I like it a lot. I really dislike the lightsaber fight between Ben Kenobi and Vader, sorry. But overall, like, Alec Guinness, like, he's the best actor in all of Star Wars, like, by a good margin. All of his scenes are amazing. Luke is good in the movie, too. His evolution as a character from this go-lucky, happy guy. The dynamic also between the three, right? The party princess, the good-natured fella, and the cynical person who is basically us in the movie, right? He's the person who's supposed to represent us, who's reacting to all this crazy nonsense, right? And they have so much chemistry, all three actors together. It's really incredible.
I agree. I think it's just like, I would not. It's still, it's iconic, and that's why I think S tier. It's like you always automatically think S tier because it's iconic, but it's like if you look at it, try to put a little bit of perspective, you're like, it's an A tier. Like, it's not as good. It doesn't do what Clone Wars or Rebels does, and it's hard because it's a movie too. So TV shows have the opportunities to to give you more.
And for all the shit we give the prequels, again, like Clone Wars does belong in S tier, despite us, bashing on it quite a bit.
All right.
Empire, S tier at the top. The best, man, it's the best Star Wars movie. The ending is so good. The acting is amazing. The character development is great. It's well written. It's got a good action scene in it with Luke versus Vader at Cloud City. It's just so good. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's
one of them, not my favorite.
I would say for me it's A tier just because. Why would it be A tier? You know what? Now that I think about it, it's like maybe it's just the graphics of it, but I guess it's just you can only do what you can do about your time, right?
That's the thing, is that it still stands to this day as a great movie with all the changing, right? But
it's like I'm just thinking, it's like, is it better than A New Hope? And it's like, clearly it is. So it has to be S tier.
It's better than I find it better than Clone Wars and Rebels. Like, for me, Empire Strikes Back is the best movie that George Lucas has, the best thing that George Lucas has ever done.
Wow, bold statement, hot take.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think a lot of people like Empire Strikes Back. I think a lot of people think it's their favorite movie.
I mean, it is iconic.
I might be talking out of my ass, but
it is iconic as well. Like, that trilogy is iconic. The first one.
Yeah. Return of the Jedi, A.
I would put it S. I love Return of the Jedi. Well? It's just, I like the conclusion. It's full circle. Well, not really, since we have 7, 8, 9, but it's just like, I just love it.
Strike your father down and take his place at my side.
Exactly. And it's just like Luke finishes what Anakin couldn't finish, and that's just,
Well, Anakin finished what Anakin couldn't finish.
Well, I mean, in a way, technically it's Luke for me that does it, because he
it's thanks to Luke.
It's thanks to Luke, and it shows you also it's just
I'd say
family
the
is-
only thing that would put. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
family just trumps everything, and that's also a good.
Yeah, it's a
moral.
good message too.
It's a good message.
Me, what I would put, why I would put it in A tier instead of S would be because of some of the acting's a bit cringe sometimes. And don't get me wrong, in Empire, like that, there's that famous "No, it's not possible." That scene, right? There's that too, which is kind of cringe as well. But in Return of the Jedi, there's quite a few scenes like that, and I'd say the Ewoks, kind of, and I know a lot of people hate the Ewoks for their reason. I love the Ewok. I love the concept of the Ewoks. I just don't like that they're responsible for defeating the Empire in the final battle. That they're somehow, and I know it's supposed to emphasize, right, that even the smallest people can, take down, Goliath, right? But again, like, it's just a bit too much for me. Again, some of the scenes between Anakin and Vader, Luke and Vader, a bit cringe for me. I know there's good in You Father, stuff like that, but overall, I do agree it's better than A New Hope, I'd say. I love A New Hope again, but there's, the fight scene between Vader and Luke at Death Star 2 is just really cool as well.
All right, Mandalorian time.
D or C?
I'm so
this is where the hot take is.
I think it's D tier, honestly. It's
so
the reason, let me tell you why. It's D tier because it's basically carried by Grogu the entire time, and that's just not enough to make it go. And I'm sorry, the plot is a video game. Do quests.
I agree.
Get equipment. Go to next quest. Get a new companion. It's literally
Boba Fett has joined the party.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the acting is not great either.
No, it's really bad. It's on par with Attack of the Clones bad.
I mean, it's like the only, and that's the thing. It's like, sure, you can watch it, and it's like, if you love Grogu, it's like, go watch it. Like, that's the only reason I continued watching it is for Grogu. And then, at the end, you get to see, at one point, you get to see Luke as well. So that's cool, but that's it. The Darksaber, I guess.
What struck me was the fact that they were like, "What's the Force? What's the Jedi?" It's been like 2 years,
Exactly.
And I know not everyone knows, right? But you're a Mandalorian. Like, all the Mandalorians know, and you're a Mandalorian that was part of, of the like Death Watch, right? So like fanatics, so they knew their history about the wars between Mandalorians and the Jedis, especially with the Darksaber and all that. So there's a lot of shit that just doesn't make sense in the Mandalorian. But I would put it C tier, and this is why. The Mandalorian is the thing in every single one of these, in movies and shows in the tiers that looks the most like the original trilogy, and by a really good margin. Like, it looks really good, but graphically, the way it's filmed, the decors, the everything looks so much like Star Wars. The acting's really bad. The plot is bad, obviously. And
I'm sorry, I can't. It has to be D tier. It's not because you have one visual thing that's the visuals are nice that it's like, cool, you got the decor right, you got everything else wrong. Like, I'm sorry, it's D tier. It's
no, there's some good Star Wars fan service, I'll say.
No, there's good fan service, but that's the problem. I think that's what tricks people into believing it's way better than it is. It's like, sure,
definitely.
They made
what? Actually, I see it. I'm gonna put Solo in C tier. I think it's more fair because it's mid. It's mid. It's fun. It's cool, but it's not. It's like Obi-Wan. There's a few things that I'm a bit like Tales too. It's okay. It's not exactly what's advertised. I think it's okay, but I don't think it. I think we're gonna say it's better than Solo.
I can agree to that.
Mando and D tier, yes. I think I because of your fair point that the visuals isn't enough.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Oh my god. So bad. Same
love
for
Grogu.
Boba.
Love Grogu. But it's just
before I go on to Boba Fett, sorry. The thing about Pedro Pascal is a great actor, and for some reason they directed him to be like super stiff, like the way he walks, the way he talks to people. Like, do you have lodging? Who the fuck says that? Who the fuck says, do you have lodging? Like, what the fuck? Like, stuff like that just doesn't make sense to me, right? And that's why Boba, I'd put it in the same place. I'd say Boba is worse than Mando, but Tamora Morrison as at least as how they directed him is much better than how they directed Mando. Like, they do change his personality and stuff a bit. They made him, but I prefer him as a main character than I do Din Djarin as, the Mandalorian.
I agree. It's not great, but I disagree with the fact that I think Boba Bear is just better, just because what drives the story is your main characters, right? And it's like not like Grogu's great, and don't get me wrong, guys, Grogu's great in Mando, but it's just like, come on, like it's zero effort. It's like it's a baby Yoda. Come on, like it was gonna work no matter what, you know. It's just.
I saw the first episode with him having landing his ship and telling him, oh, you need this special mount to get to this location, right? Which is guarded by loads of people with machine guns and stuff, right? Like
going to a dungeon to get the mount.
You know, and you need to train to get the mount, right? I was like, damn, this is so much of a video game. And I was like, I'm gonna finish the episode because it's Star Wars, because I do love Star Wars. And then I saw Grogu and I was, this is how they hook me in. I see.
It doesn't get better after that. You could have hope, but it just doesn't. All right.
I'd say Ahsoka, B or A. I think that it was a great show, and if you're a Star Wars fan, especially a Rebels fan, it's great. But I feel like the story and, you know, where they are and the importance of it, and they don't go into it, right? Like the Planet of the Night Sisters, I don't understand why we went there. There's not a clear explanation apart to get Ezra, right? Why that place is important, what Thrawn was doing there. Like there's so many blanks in that story that I feel like I can't put it in A. But I really enjoyed it. It doesn't like I enjoyed Andor and Tales of the Jedi. It doesn't mean they're bad. It's just like
it feels incomplete. It feels incomplete.
Yeah, exactly. It feels incomplete. You know, not as complete as Rebels or, you know, even the Bad Batch. You know, and I think I enjoyed Ahsoka more than the Bad Batch, but I could admit that the Bad Batch is better than Ahsoka just because there's so many, you know, plot holes. And again, there's one season of Ahsoka, so like Andor. Depends, right? Because for instance, Bad Batch, Rebels, Clone Wars, we're ranking this on multiple seasons, right? So
for sure.
If you want to know our opinion on Ahsoka, you can go watch a review of that. Same for Clone Wars, we did reviews on both of those shows. Star Wars Resistance, never watched. Same for you, I'm imagining.
No, I've never watched, but like if it's really good, guys, like please tell us, and we'll definitely give it a watch, and maybe, you know, make a mention of it if where we would rank it if we would get to watch it.
So now we're on to the movies that are known to have destroyed the Star Wars universe.
All right.
Force Awakens. I'm gonna put it in C tier.
I agree. I think it's C tier. I think it has its purpose. It's great. It's basically the 4. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, this is a Death Star. This is the new Death Star.
Exactly.
That's not the scene, but you know what I mean, right?
It's basically the 4. Like, we get Finn, which is great. I love Finn.
Yeah, Finn is great. He's amazing.
He's underused, but you know,
Han too. Getting Han back is super important to Star Wars because of how cynical and, you know, how real worldy he is as a character, in opposition to the craziness. You know what I mean?
Exactly, but it's just, you know, it's C because it's the 4. It's honestly, not terrible. Even it's not the worst, but it's not good by any stretch either. It's
for me, like, and people are gonna be like, what are you talking about? You know, the sequels suck, everything is shit. What are you talking about? But one of the best scenes, like acting scenes in Star Wars as a whole, is in The Force Awakens. It's with that scene between Han and his son, between Han and Ben, when they, you know, when he's like, I need you to help me, I can't do it. Like he's like literally pouring his emotions out to his father, because like, even though he, you know, sort of despises him in a way for, you know, sending him away and to a person who almost killed him, which is absolute nonsense. We'll talk about that later. Like it's really emotional and touching. And the thing that's great, and I talked to so many people after I saw the movie, and he was like, oh, that guy should have never lost to Rey. It made no sense. Dude got shot in the hip by a bowcaster, something that we like, Wookiee's Chewie's weapon, for you guys who don't know what that is. And we saw that previously in a movie, like destroy a bunker or something. So like, first of all, there's that, and second of all, he killed his father. Like, he killed his father. No matter how strong you think you are, especially for someone who is so obviously conflicted, that is gonna leave a scar. And fighting someone right after that, who, you know, like, is like defying like the laws of the Force by, you know, just being Rey, is, you know, devastating, right? So I don't know. I really like Kylo's character, and the acting was great in The Force Awakens as opposed to what we usually see in Star Wars. It's just, yeah, it's the 4. As you said.
It's the 4. It's fine.
That's Jedi. Go ahead. Place it where we know it's going.
Yeah, it's D tier. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's D tier.
It's just terrible.
For me, the only redeeming quality is I liked seeing, it's again hot take, but I liked seeing cynical Luke, even though it's not the good-natured person, right, etc. I liked it because we've talked about this before, Turtles, right? You told me like he's an adult, right? You said something like that last time. I don't remember exactly.
No,
what you
he's
said.
been through life. It's like when you're young. Like you're optimistic and you look towards the future, and as you grow older you become cynical because you get more life experience. Life has beaten you down, and let's not forget that he tried his own order and it failed in a way, so he's a defeated man. He didn't succeed in what he was trying to achieve, and he's leaving.
Yeah, and even the way he talks about the Force, it's like the way he's saying that the Jedi are selfish for thinking it's theirs, it's everyone's, it belongs to everything. You know what I mean? Like that was a very interesting take from him. The thing is, him trying to kill his nephew makes absolutely zero fucking sense. No sense whatsoever because of a bad dream. Like, what the hell? What the hell? Jesus.
Especially somebody that should understand the conflict within oneself.
Yeah, he literally managed to bring back a person who was like the worst human in history, or one of the worst. Vader, he's a serial killer. I killed hundreds of thousands of people, and he brings him back, and he's scared of his nephew in a nightmare. Like, bro, go talk to him, and you kill him in his sleep. Like, what? No wonder Kylo turned. You know what I mean? It just makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
And again, like the problem with the sequels is not that they're bad movies per se, except for like The Last Jedi, which is really, really bad. But it's that the story is in of itself, apart from Kylo's individual story, the stories don't really correlate to one another in a big way like they do right in the 1, 2, 3. Even though, like we said, there are problems with Anakin and not seeing his disdain for the Order quite clearly. We do see him turn to the dark side.
It doesn't feel like a clear path. It's like everybody has their own individual journey that kind of leads you somewhere to get to the end.
And then the next writer took over and tried to make it make sense in his own way, and then so on and so forth. Like, but again, like for me, the biggest thing is Kylo's journey. Throughout the 3 movies, it does feel like Kylo's journey at least makes sense for me because he's very conflicted as a person. But all the rest, man, like the worst thing, and we haven't even talked about it, and we won't go too long about it. We'll end it soon about The Last Jedi. But Finn, man, the thing, like it had one of the almost best moments in Star Wars when Finn tries to sacrifice himself to save everyone else, and it all goes to fucking shit when Rose tries to save him. Oh my god.
And it's like, if she saves him and sacrifices herself instead, like I get it, it's still pretty good. But the fact that they both survive, and then basically it just screws everybody else over for one person. It makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. It's just,
we'll become like them. Well,
and I don't understand why
that's war.
And it feels like they're trying to give a new love interest to Finn every movie, which is like, just stick with one. Just like the Rey thing with him, and then you have Kylo in the way. That would make, that's fine. That's very Luke. It would be very Luke, Han, Leia kind of situation in a weird way.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it would give you more of that vibe, but like every movie, it's like it's Rose, and then there's the other, like
the stormtrooper chick, like
it's just terrible. Absolutely terrible.
But yeah, this movie is really bad. Personally, again, for me, I can watch through it and can enjoy it because I like Kylo as a character, and that's enough for me because he's a main character. I prefer Kylo than Anakin Skywalker, to be honest. But again, that's more of a performance thing. Adam Driver's a much better actor than Hayden Christensen. What?
Yeah. Well, I if you're gonna take the character of Anakin Skywalker, for me, after Clone Wars, it's still, I like Anakin more than I would like Kylo.
Because of Clone Wars.
Especially if you just say the movies, it's not even a question.
Yeah, they're because more difficult. But that's fair. Like, not everyone can enjoy, a character. That's fine.
I mean,
Rise of Skywalker, same, I think.
Yeah, it's D. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'd say it's better than The Last Jedi. I'd say it's better than Attack of the Clones. Like, Attack of the Clones, like, I have to skip through it. Rise of Skywalker, I'm just asking myself questions during the whole movie. Like, why? Where did this come from? You know what I mean? Like,
and the end is just confusing and just not great. It feels like
it doesn't make sense that she should accept who she is and say, I'm Rey Palpatine, not adopt someone else's name, right? Like, I didn't like that.
Yeah, it's just, It's just weird. I mean, it feels just like basically you're just waiting for them to go and fight Palpatine, basically. And it feels like, and I told you that when I watched it, it's like it feels like for those who know the game SWTOR, like it feels like a scene you would get in a video game. And that would be really cool
like
for a video game
in the
for
Force
a boss
Awakens,
fight.
right?
Exactly. For, as a boss fight at the end of your storyline, that would be great. But for a movie, it's just like, that's how you end it. It's like, the ending made sense in a way. It's like, everything brought balance and da-da-da. And, they don't need the Skywalkers anymore. That's fair. But you could have done it in such a different way where he becomes a semi-god that floats in the air. And,
For me,
terrible.
Another good scene of it was just seeing him seeing Han, and Han's the one who turns him back to the light side. I like that because again, it's the beginning of his whole conflict, right? The thing with Han, him killing his father was a mistake. So his father coming to fix the mistake, coming to talk to him in this weird, psychedelic weird shit that's going on in Kylo's head. I found it pretty cool. But yeah, it's a really shit movie.
I mean, it's not one scene that's gonna save it,
No, of course. I like the character, so I can, and like with people who like, Attack of the Clones, they're gonna be like, oh, I like it a lot because there's that cool Yoda fight in it, right? You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that's not a bad movie, right?
All right.
I think this is pretty solid tier list.
I'm happy
there's gonna
with
be
this.
a lot of what Mandalorian's D tier. What the hell are you talking about? Best show ever? Like, get a reality check.
Nah, I agree. All right. Well, I mean, so I think I'm happy with this. So let us know what you think in the comments below. Tell us if you feel like
feel free to bash us.
I mean, please tell me why I'm wrong about the Mandalorian, but I'm not. I'm just not. Oh
my god.
And have a good day, guys.
Hey, this is Future Fanfic cutting in. We made this video when Tales of the Empire came out, not when the Acolyte did, and we didn't have time to release it because of work and all that. But we're here now. We released it, and the Acolyte's already come out, and we already have a video in the works analyzing that series. So here we go. We're just gonna add it to the tier list real quick for you guys, just so you know. We really did not like the Acolyte. Is it the worst thing? Maybe not. Turtles isn't with me right now because he's at work, so I'm just putting this in so you guys know. But he agrees with me. We've done a whole video on it at least. So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily much better than The Last Jedi, but I mean, The Last Jedi was really bad objectively, right? So yeah, I'm just gonna put it here. In a way, I do feel there was more cringe for me anyways. I'm not sure about what Turtles thinks, but in the Acolyte, then Attack of the Clones, so I'm gonna put it here. I don't know why we have Revenge of the Sith below Ahsoka, but okay. Yeah, so that's it. That's the tier list with the Acolyte included for you guys. The video on the Acolyte that we have will be posting quite soon. Look forward to that. I'll be editing that this week. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and yeah, see you next time.